Kelsey Fitzsimmons, once a dedicated police officer in the Boston area, is now accused of breaking the law in an alleged assault against a fellow cop.
All the Commonwealth has to do is ask the officers. There was 4 officers that were at the scene.
Officers were at the home of Fitzsimmons in June. They were serving her with a restraining order that included removing her baby after her fiance claimed she assaulted him and feared for his and their baby's safety. According to the prosecutors, while Fitzsimmons was gathering some of her son's things, Officer Noonan observed the defendant face him, lunge behind the door, and reappear, pointing a firearm directly at him. The defendant pulled the trigger and he heard a click, but no round fired. The officer at the scene then shot Fitzsimmons in the chest. Fitzsimmons was subsequently charged with assault with a dangerous weapon. Fitzsimmons claims she wasn't trying to hurt anyone but herself. She says she had been suffering from postpartum depression and in a statement said this: "My firearm was never pointed in any direction other than my temple. When I pulled the trigger, my gun did not fire. However, I immediately got shot in the chest." Meanwhile, Fitzsimmons is in custody, locked up while she awaits her trial. Her bond was revoked after allegedly failing to comply with alcohol testing. She says the injury to her chest made it too difficult to use a breathalyzer.
Welcome back. We are taking you beyond the gavel, a peek behind the courtroom scenes to see how the judicial process plays out. And in Massachusetts, Kelsey Fitzsimmons was back in court today where a date has been set for the custody battle assault trial. March 23rd, 2026 is when we expect this to go in front of a jury. She's out on bail now. Last month, a judge ruled that Fitzsimmons could be released pending trial after her attorney told the court she was now able to comply with alcohol testing. Now, before that, she was held in jail without bond for more than 100 days. A lot of issues being talked about on a case like this one. So let's talk about it with our power panel, bringing back in Molly Palmer, David Schnipper, and Amelia Rivello. Amelia, I want to start with you on this one. Tell me what's your initial opinion of this one, starting with the shooting. I mean, she's being served with documents, and they want to take her child. And her reaction is, she says, to hold the gun to her own head, but they say she was firing in a way that was threatening to the officers, and she was shot in the chest.
Yes, I mean, obviously her mental state is going to be extremely important in this case as well. Apparently she has been suffering from postpartum depression, so definitely they're going to need to put on some kind of medical expert to testify as to that and how it could have given her PTSD and would have prompted her to act like that in a stressful situation. I also think that it's a unique situation where they basically denied her bond because she wasn't able to comply with alcohol testing. I mean, that just seems like a very unreasonable situation. She was literally shot in the chest because of this. And if there's ever a reason to deviate from standard bond, I mean, I would think it would be that. She wasn't able to use the breathalyzer to blow into the breathalyzer because of her deflated lung. So I'm not too sure why there wasn't an alternative solution here. She could have done mandatory drug testing once a week through blood. I think it was a little bit unreasonable of the prosecution and also for the court.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk more about that bond and those conditions in just a moment. Molly, I want to go back to the actual shooting of this officer in a situation where there were multiple officers. Is there a conversation to be had about training for officers in a situation like this? Were there factors that maybe more could have been taken into consideration?
I think there's always a conversation to be had when it comes to things like de-escalation and somebody who's potentially holding a gun to their own head, suffering from postpartum depression. I mean, unfortunately, this has become more and more common when it comes to police interactions. And yes, it's incredibly difficult to be a law enforcement officer. She was one herself. But the reality is there has to be some sort of recognition that somebody is in extreme psychological distress on a level that can avoid a tragedy like this happening. And it's always difficult to see and to hear a scenario wherein perhaps a little more training could have made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, agreed. David, what do you think about the shooting itself and whether or not anyone else should be looked at when it comes to this? I mean, because, of course, they're saying that she was the one who's at fault.
I mean, this is just bizarre. I mean, first of all, she needs a lot of help. All right, she needs a lot of help. She's very disturbed, postpartum, whatever psychological issue is going on, and let's hope that she does get the help. She should probably never be a law enforcement officer again. But I look at it differently. I look at it that, like, if she was to have the gun to her head, who knows, if you have a gun here, who knows if you can't do that? I mean, the officer, in a way, shot her in a way that it wasn't crazy, detrimental, compromising injuries for like ever. So it could have been a lot worse. Maybe that officer shot her in a way that she's going to survive and be okay, because who knows what she could have done. Because from what I read, she's saying that she was trying to commit suicide. What are you trying to commit suicide for? So, I mean, there's so many moving parts to this. And the fact is that, you know, she now is trying to get her child back. The state isn't allowing that. I mean, she needs a lot of help. I think that's probably what we all can agree on.
Yeah, Amelia's shaking her head. Along with that, Amelia, what's your take on the custody part of this? Because that's already going to be difficult. Her fiance is a first responder. He's the one who successfully got a restraining order saying that she was violent. Are we going to see him come in and testify at this assault trial?
Oh, I'm sure he's going to come in and testify, obviously. And I think that any court would be persuaded to essentially get rid of or revoke her custody completely after something like this. I mean, having a criminal allegation to this magnitude is a very serious offense, and I do not see the court allowing her to have custody after this. Maybe not forever, but in the interim, definitely it's going to affect her custody case. The court is probably going to, if the court does allow her to have visitation with her child, it's definitely going to be some kind of supervised visits, maybe even at the police station or at a neutral place where she can be supervised.
Molly, last 30 seconds. She's out on bond now.
Yeah, finally. I mean, it's always frustrating to see like really onerous bond conditions that, you know, maybe your client can't afford, that they just can't comply with given their circumstances. But this might be the worst of the worst. You know, like Amelia was saying, it's like she has a collapsed lung and therefore can't breathe into the breathalyzer. Maybe don't make that a bond condition. How about that?
We will see what happens in that case. Again, that trial starts March 23rd of this year. We will cover it here on Court TV.